Alright, so I ended up picking up a new crawler. It's a Redcat Gen8 V2 Scout in purple. Actually, I kind of like the purple. They got two colors. They're the green and purple. Ended up going with this, and I already have a SCX-10 Jeep as well as a Capra. This is kind of my wife's truck, and I had a rock buggy before, the Capra, and I kind of wanted to build something scale, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to build. So I looked at a bunch of trucks, settled on this thing, and picked it up last week. So I ended up putting a few parts on it. I just got back from crawling, and I wanted to make a video on this thing to kind of explain, you know, why I went this way and why I do what I did. I really like this body. I guess I'm not really too into all the new saw bodies, like old stuff, I guess nostalgic type bodies. And this thing being a bigger SUV kind of fit the bill for that. And the one kind of downside, I guess you could say, is it's 3-linked in the front. But there's ways to get around that to make it not so bad. Yeah, anyways, this thing came stock with 1.9s. I ended up extending the links out. So I pushed the front axle forward right here. I also did the rear. So this thing is on the longest wheelbase you can get to, and ended up doing 2.2s and made a world of difference on this truck. It's night and day, not even close to the same as it was when it was on 1.9s. And then I picked up a bunch of stuff from Club 5 Racing, because I kind of wanted to make it look sort of scale, you know, with the trunk popper and the fuel door. I added door handles, and then I did mud flaps and winch and lights and all that. I got a whole build list of stuff I can go over, but to fit 2.2s takes a lot of trimming to get them to fit right. I still need to trim a little bit more on the back of this, and then you have to cut significantly out of the front. For the front to fit perfectly, you know, you'd have to pretty much redesign the fender. I don't have a 3D printer, but I wish I did, so I could redo kind of how the fenders sit in there and how the body attaches, and raise these up so you can get a little bit more travel. You do lose a little bit slightly, but it's really not that bad. And I mean, this thing wheels absolutely great. So I'll go ahead and get the body off and kind of explain more what we got going on. All right, so I got the body off. I kind of wrote a little list down here of everything I got. So I guess we'll start at the top. So Club 5, right? I got the mud flap kit for both sides. They have a Gen 2, and then they also have like a Gen 1 flap kit, and I believe it's just the actual flap is different on the other kit. And then let's see, it's gonna be upside down. I got 76 Grille. It looks a lot better. Actually, let me grab the factory grills and see what it looks like. Okay, so this is the factory grill compared to the 76 International Harvester grill that I got. Ended up getting windshield wipers, and then door handles, the fuel door kit, and what do you call that thing? Rear trunk popper. So I got all those from Club 5, as well as this skid plate right here to protect the servo. Got that in there. And what else? Okay, yeah, the Redcat lighting. So I mounted this thing up. I actually made a shorter harness, and I'm only running the harness off the ESC, so I'm not doing the I don't have the one for the servo running, so just the one. So I cut it down to one harness. And then on the taillights, I didn't really like the fact that the rear lights were a constant on in the bumper, so I wired them into the reverse light circuit. So basically when I get on the brakes, or when I switch to reverse, these come on as well as the lights in the actual housings, which I think looks pretty good, and that's practical, I guess, from a full-size truck. Also the rock light kit, that was a pain to put in. Actually, there's a ton of these things. You gotta drill all 3 holes, and then there's a nut, and then a bolt, and then a nut that goes on the back. But they make it look pretty awesome. The truck looks really good with them. Yeah, what else do I got? Okay, and then I ended up doing RC four-wheel drive wagon wheels with a 6mm spacer, and then the 2.2 PBRs with the alien foams. As far as tires go, I call them pitbull rockers. They're Rock B. Sorry, they call them something different. And then I ended up doing a Crawlmaster Sport 540. It's a 16 turn, and you lose quite a bit of miles per hour, but what you gain is a lot of, how to explain this? A lot of smoothness and controllability, and a lot more brake. And there's a lot of power. So like, for instance, earlier, I actually popped out the U-joint because there's so much torque here. And if you do get stuck, you are going to break something. But it's significantly more torque and it's significantly smoother than it would be on that stock motor, which is really light down low. And all of a sudden you got a bunch of mid-range and top end. And then to cool it down, I did a ProTech 30mm fan that runs down there. And it keeps it cool. I mean, it's cool to the touch as soon as you touch it. Oh, here's the rock lights. Check those out too. All right. And then I did worn 9.5 CTI winch and SSD portal weights. And these actually made a big difference. I've never ran portal weights, but I could definitely tell where they helped in situations versus not having a portal weight or not having any weight up front. My friend John has the same truck. He has the Axe version, and it's a pretty similar build to mine. And you can tell in areas where he doesn't have portal weights, and it does feel lighter on the front end, and it does lift a lot more. So I think they do definitely help, and I think it's well worth having those. Oh yeah, so on the shock setup, I don't know how you guys are running yours, but I had to run mine in the center. I wanted to run it in the rear because that's going to give you the most, stuff and droop. And it was just too light. And I ended up having to crank the spring all the way down. And then it was just, the spring rates are off. So I think I'm going to change to maybe 105 mil Proline shock and figure out the weights I need to run. But that will allow me to run the stock lower and then maybe bring it back up into the top rear and be a lot more droop, a lot more usable of a shock. The other thing that kind of sucks about this truck, the biggest downfall, is it's a 3-link. And that link moves around like crazy right here, if you can see it. So I do plan on getting the hot racing links and then making my own panhard bar to be able to get rid of all that axle movement. As well as, I was looking at servos. I think I'm going to pick up the Reefs 500 and throw that in there. And that should get rid of a lot of the problems that I've got, which is basically just the front end. So steering, and then the suspension needs a little bit of tuning, but it's not bad. This is a really good performing truck, and I wouldn't be hesitant to buy it at all. At $299, I don't think there's a better truck you could buy. For just a little bit of money spent making this thing significantly better, and it's an awesome truck. Plus, it looks great, so that helps. I guess the other downsides, if you're coming from like a Traxxas, it doesn't have 2 speeds, and it has spools, so it's not going to be a lock-in, unlocking front and rear. But I prefer the spool because I feel like it. I always know what the truck's going to do, and I kind of like that. I don't have to worry about lock and unlock and everything, and just being able to drive. Yeah, you can get in situations where being able to unlock the diffs is going to be a lot better getting around rocks and getting around obstacles. But at the end of the day, if you got to back up a little bit and or throttle out of it, it's not the end of the world. There was one other thing. Also, I don't know which ESC I'm going to go with. I don't know if I'm going to stay with this and see if I can bump up the BC voltage to run the 500 at, like, let's say 7.4, because I think this thing may be at 6, and I don't know if there's adjustability in this. I got to look into it. I'm not totally sure, but I'm hoping that there is some adjustability. I just got to look into it. But I'll go ahead and throw the body on and show you guys what the lights look like. Alright, well I messed with the camera trying to get it to stop blinking, but I can't find the right frame rate to make it stop. I just wanted to kind of show you guys what the reverse lights look like. So forward, and then as reverse comes on, you'll be able to see the lowers. So I wish it wasn't blinking, but I kind of like that better than you know, having the rears constantly on. I think it doesn't look as good. But anyways, this is the truck. I got a little bit more planned, you know, for the build. But if you guys got any questions or anything, you know, I'll try to answer them the best I can. And also put a full build description in the description, I guess you call it. All right, thanks guys. See you later.